Hey there, my name is Lex, but you may know me better as tinykittendoll. I am, unfortunately, as I will get into, known mostly for my art and previous position in the Aphmau / Minecraft Diaries fandom. I have to apologize if I sound really bad in this video because I am sick right now, but before I get too heavily into the rant, I want to mention this is not to start arguments or blame Aphmau herself. This is not to spread rumors about her. So please, as you watch this video, keep an open mind and try to understand where I'm coming from. To start things off, I was an artist on Twitter in the Minecraft Diaries fandom. I found her series on YouTube and I really enjoyed it, so I started drawing pictures for it and I would tweet them to her on Twitter, and she really liked them. She actually retweeted them a few times, and it made me very happy, and I built a fan base for myself around the art that I made for her, and it was fine. I don't know how long it went on, maybe 6 months or so. I didn't really keep track, but everything kind of started to go downhill, and I will get in more to why in this video, but it just went crazy. So I will start on the first segment, which is about Minecraft Diaries. Minecraft Diaries is her most popular Minecraft roleplay series, and is the first one I found. That's how I was introduced to Aphmau, and I really liked it, so I drew pictures for her. She eventually followed me on Twitter because I did a lot of art. My account eventually became solely Minecraft Diaries fan art and theories and stuff like that. And I dedicated a lot of my time to Minecraft Diaries. I really, really enjoyed the series. But then the writing started going downhill about the start of Season 2, I think. I really enjoyed Season 1. The writing was phenomenal, and the plot was interesting. I mean, it was so different from anything I had ever seen before. But something changed around the start of Season 2, and I don't know what. But the writing just really got bad. It got very cliche, and if you know anything about Aphmau, she does like anime and stuff like that, and that's fine. I don't care. But it seemed to influence her writing a lot, to the point that it wasn't even original anymore. And we'll get more into that later on about the writing and stuff like that. But that made me want to critique her series, which is fine. I am allowed to voice my opinion on the series, and I was not insulting it. I still love Minecraft Diaries even now. Season 1 is still very good. I love rewatching it. But it's hard to because of everything else I will talk about in this video. But I put out my opinions on the series on Twitter, and since this was now a year ago, I may have been too harsh, and I will admit that myself first. But her writing definitely did get worse at the beginning of Season 2. And I was not, like I said, I was not insulting her, and I was not demanding that she change it just because I didn't like it. I am allowed to criticize a series, and I do that with any series that I enjoy. And it was not just me. There was a lot of people in the fandom that were very upset with the sudden turn in bad writing. It got to where the plot was just bad. And moving on from the subject of bad writing, but still connected to that, Aphmau developed an obsession with shipping. It is fine if you want to put pairings into your series, and she did it very well at the beginning of Season 1. There were 2 main love interests for her character, Aphmau. And I don't like love triangles anyway. I think it's very cliche and very boring. But she did it well. She worked it well into the plot, and she gave each of the shippers who did both sides, or either side, did it very well and pleased both of them, kept them both happy. And that was fine. It was very interesting, and you don't always see that in writing. I personally only liked Aphmau and Gareth together, but I appreciated that she did it well with Aphmau and Lawrence. She kept it very balanced, and it was written very well. And a lot of people appreciated that. But at the beginning of season 2, I don't remember exactly when he was introduced, but she introduced a character that was called the Stranger. And he seemed pretty interesting at the beginning. I mean, mysterious character, nobody knew his name. It seemed fine, but then they introduced the character as being basically a self-insert of Aphmau's real-life husband, Jason. And the character's name was Aaron. That's fine as well. I don't care if her husband wanted to voice a character in her series. That's totally fine. But she used this as a way to force the characters Aphmau and Aaron together. And it was forced. She won't admit it, but it was. If you just look back at the writing, there was no chemistry between the two characters. And that was when the writing really started going downhill. She started kind of joking around on Twitter about this new pairing called Aphmau. That was Aaron and Aphmau together. And a few people here and there liked it. It was no big deal. It was because there was a lot of what they would call crack ships in the fandom. It's pairing every character with Aphmau, and that just became a running joke. And a lot of people only shipped, quotes around shipped, Aphmau because she joked about it. But I don't know if she was trying to hint at people to actually get behind it because that was how the plot was going to go. But, spoilers, of course, if you have not watched Minecraft Diaries up to the end of Season 2. But, at the end of Season 2, they revealed that Aphmau, the character, was pregnant with Aaron's child. This happened over the course of 2 months in the series time. That she found out his name, they did whatever they did, conceived a child, and then Aaron died because Jason decided to step down as a voice actor. Well, you've worked up 2 whole seasons of chemistry between Aphmau and Garth and Aphmau and Lawrence. And then they're both gone. She's supposedly worried about them. She's also worried about managing this new town that she's started. And she even said at points during the series she didn't have time for a relationship. So you go and get pregnant by someone you've only known for a couple months. They didn't even say they were dating or anything. There was no build-up. And you've been building up these other 2 relationships for a very long time. And then after that happened, she announced on Twitter that this was going to be the main ship in every one of her series. Because I think it did start off in My Street, which is, it's okay if she wanted to do that pairing in that series because it was set in a completely different universe than Minecraft Diaries. And if she wanted to do that just for something fun for her and her husband to do, that's great. But she worked it into every single roleplay series she had that had Aphmau and Aaron as characters in it. And Garth and Lawrence completely got pushed to the side even though they had that huge build-up for 2 whole seasons. And only maybe a month for Aaron. And I watched a video before talking about she implies sexual stuff a lot. And that's fine if that's what she's interested in. But you don't need to be working that into a series for very young children if that's what you want to write about. I write adult fiction. I have a comic that I do, and it's very explicit. It's okay if that's what you want to do, but don't aim the series at very small children that are very impressionable and talk about all these characters hooking up and stuff like that. And she did mention, she does have a Tumblr account. I'm on Tumblr a lot. And I followed her, and she did put in the description that she talks about adult topics on there a lot. But that still does not make it okay when most of her following is small children. And she would openly talk about characters, the pairings, having sex on Tumblr. And she even made one post specifically, I remember it because it completely disgusted me, of characters that had had sex canonically, and then it didn't affect their relationship. What's the point of that? And she also admitted to writing smut fiction with a lot of her characters. If you want to do that, it's okay. But I know a lot of her very young followers follow her on Tumblr and they see that. And it's not like her blog is locked, so young people cannot get in. But that just really bothered me because I take a lot of precautions so people do not see my stuff that's not age appropriate. And I will admit right now, my Twitter is not age appropriate. If you're under 18 years old, you don't need to be following me on there. But she will not tell you that. And she doesn't have warnings anywhere except that one on her Tumblr description. And I don't know if she even has that anymore because I haven't been on there in so long. But going back to her series, she acts like that's okay for her character that is supposed to be herself to go out and get pregnant by someone she's only known for a couple months, and that's okay. You could at least work it into the plot to say that's not okay, but they haven't. They've worked it out. This is some great, amazing thing for the plot development. It's not. That's not what you need to be putting into basically a children's TV show, because that's all who watch it. I've met many 8-year-olds that are in the Minecraft Diaries fandom that love watching it, and they don't need to be exposed to that. Even against opinions on whether children need to be exposed to that or not, they don't need that portrayed as acceptable, because it's not. And on the subject of artists, there was one specific artist, and if you've been in the fandom for the last year, you've probably heard about it, at least on Twitter, because it was a huge outrage with a lot of people. And like I said, I was friends with a lot of the artists before, even though I no longer speak to them. But there was one artist in particular. I'm going to keep her name. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to give her any other problems. But at one point, me and her were friends, and for separate reasons, we stopped being friends. But what happened was, from what I understand anyway, because I did not experience it firsthand, but she said she was no longer going to draw art for Aphmau. And she had made her fan base off of Aphmau fan art. And all of her followers completely jumped down her throat and made death threats against her because she would no longer make fan art for Aphmau. That alone is not acceptable. So a lot of people reached out to Aphmau to try to get her to speak out against this. And she did. 4 months later. It took that long to apparently bring the subject to her attention. And at that point, this artist had been suicidal. She had wanted to commit suicide because of the constant attention from these people that were sending her death threats and everything because she would not draw fan art for Aphmau anymore. And when Aphmau finally did speak out against it, she did say that it was wrong and people shouldn't do this and blah, blah, blah. And then immediately the next tweet was, but enough of that, here's a pretty thing of cats. Let's talk about cats. That's not how you handle that kind of situation. I understand it may have been awkward, and I know she's not responsible for what her fans do, but she can influence them to not do that and to tell them that's wrong. And one thing that specifically got onto me was, during all of that, one of the voice actors, I'm going to say who it was Lawrence's voice actor, can't think of his name right now, don't really care, but he made a comment, I don't remember if it was directly at the artist, but he said something about, we're not therapists, we're entertainers, and if you're suicidal, then you need to get professional help, because we're not qualified for that. Well, for one thing, the artist wasn't asking them to be her therapist. Everybody was trying to get Aphmau to put a stop to this behavior, this harassing this artist. And that was just completely inappropriate and wrong. And that whole thing, and then it was never spoken about again. And something that was brought up in that conversation between the artist and Aphmau was that Aphmau had blocked her. And the artist had a screenshot of where she had blocked her for reasons I don't know, because I was not involved with this artist at this point. But she had blocked her. And that makes me want to mention she blocked me as well, and openly admitted to the fact that she had blocked me. But I will get into that in a minute. But when the artist claimed that she had blocked her and showed her the screenshot, Aphmau said, well, I've never blocked you. Completely denied it, even though the proof was right there. And it really hurt the artist's feelings that she had been blocked. And the whole situation was just awful. And that was probably bigger than even my situation, which I will get back into in a minute. And I think the artist has completely disconnected herself from the fandom. I don't remember what her account is. But Aphmau just really made a fool of herself by how she handled that situation. She was very immature with how she handled it. You could at least act like an adult in that situation. She only made maybe 1 or 2 posts on Twitter about the seriousness of that situation. And finally, getting into my role in the fandom and my experiences. As I said before, I put out my opinions on the series on Twitter, and I criticized it on there, and I recommended what I thought might be better, or what might improve the plot, things like that. And as I also said, I may have been too harsh then. I will admit that up front. I may have been too harsh. But I'm not saying she had to take what I said into consideration, but she completely ignored me, unfollowed me because of that, and then she blocked me because of that. And she blocked my friends by association with me that did not have anything to do with the series. And I know this to be true because I had 4 friends that were blocked by her because they were friends with me, and they were in the fandom, but they weren't doing anything, and they weren't criticizing the series. They didn't make fan art or anything. They were just simply blocked because I was friends with them. And after that happened, she completely cut contact with me. We never spoke again. And she kept me blocked for several months, and I got over it. I mean, whatever, I don't care. But a while later, not actually that long ago from when I'm making this video, it's been a couple months, someone asked her directly about the people that she had blocked. And she did make a video addressing that issue on her vlog channel, talking about she only blocked people who brought her children, her family, into trying to insult them at her series or something like that. I don't know exactly what she was talking about because I never saw anybody ever doing that. Not to say they didn't, but I never saw it, and I certainly did not do that. Her real life family has nothing to do with her series, and I would never mention that trying to defend my opinion of the writing of the series. There's no correlation there. But when this person asked about why she had blocked these artists and other people, they specifically asked about me, and she told them that I had brought up her family, and she knew that because she remembered it. I never mentioned her family. I had one of my followers go back to the start of my Twitter just to make sure there wasn't something I said that I was not remembering. And I never said anything about it. And I wouldn't. I have absolutely no reason to. It wouldn't help. It wouldn't further my opinion of how bad the writing was in the series or how she acted towards her fandom. And I don't know if she is confused or she was actually lying about that. And I hope that it wasn't her lying, but honestly, after everything that's happened, I wouldn't put it past her. And if there was ever something that I said that she actually took offense to, that she took in the wrong way, to think maybe I was insulting her family or something, know that I never meant it like that. And if she did take it that way, I am sorry, because that's not what I meant at all. I would never, ever say anything like that. But that about wraps up the video. I know I've been rambling for about 20 minutes now, but this whole thing has been going on for about a year. It's been more than that. But it has caused me a lot of grief. I have a lot of issues with other fandoms now. It's hard to get into series, and I still love Minecraft Diaries, and it's really upsetting because I can't get back into that, and I can't enjoy that for what it is because of everything that's happened on Twitter and with Aphmau herself. And I wish I could, but I don't think there's any way to fix that now. And I have problems, like I said, I have problems with other fandoms. You say shipping to me, and it really bothers me. I can't even, all I associate that with is Minecraft Diaries and the problems that had. And I have trouble liking characters now because the personalities got so warped in season 2 because it just completely went in a crazy direction. And I'm worried that I'm going to stop liking them because they do something crazy in the story. And that probably doesn't make a lot of sense to anybody, but it has caused me a lot of personal issues with series and stuff like that. But, yeah. But to finish it off, just a reminder, this is not Star Arguments, it's not Flame Aphmau, it's just me expressing what has happened over the course of the last year with Aphmau and the fandom and everything else. And I'm going to consider this my last say-so on the series. Of course, if you want to talk to me more about it, I am on Twitter and you can message me personally. Or, I mean, I am going to disable comments on this video because I just don't, I know people are going to start arguments down there and I'm just not going to do that. But if you want to talk to me about it or whatever, I am on Twitter and you can message me on there. If you want to follow me online, my Twitter is tinykittendoll and my Tumblr is the same thing, one word. And yeah, if you just want to check out my art and my writing, that'd be really cool. So, I think that's the end of the video. Thank y'all for watching. See ya.